Hi, Chef Shelly here. Good to see you again. So what are you drinking? Right now it's noon Central Time, so that means it's only 1 on the East Coast, or gosh, it's early on the West Coast. Are you drinking wine yet? I'm not. Don't be too jealous. I am having actually Moroccan mint tea, which I love, but it's not wine. So it's good to see you again. If you are new around here, I am Chef Shelly. I've been a personal chef for about 14 years, and I love to help passionate home cooks start their own personal chef business so that you can get paid to do what you love, which is cook, without having to go to expensive culinary school or work nights and weekends in a restaurant, because nobody wants to do that. So today's topic is the top 3 services that all, and I mean all, personal chefs offer, and also which one is the best, because one of them is. And I came up just off the top of my head with over half a dozen other services that either I've done or other personal chefs that I know that are successful have done too. So there are a lot of different options that you have to consider. So if you have friends that might be interested in this topic too, hit the share button and share the love, like one of those super annoying cards you get in the mail that's full of confetti glitter that gets everywhere. Yeah, share it like that. Help a sister out. So, because there's a lot of good information here, and if they're interested, they will be happy that you did. So again, our topic today is 3 services that all personal chefs offer. So, when I first started out almost 14 years ago, personal chefs were not nearly as common as they are today. As a matter of fact, a lot of people weren't even really sure what personal chef meant. So whenever someone asked me what I did and I said I'm a personal chef, they would assume I was just a caterer and that's all I did. Well, now things obviously have changed a lot. There are many personal chefs and even tons more people that hire personal chefs. So it's actually not even catering that is the main focus for a personal chef. My favorite service of all the ones I've offered over the years, hands down, is, and if you've been around here, you've heard me wax poetic about it, weekly personal chef services. Now, actually, that doesn't have to be weekly. It can be bi-weekly. It can be monthly, whatever. But these are regular services that you cook for your clients, like either you make a week's worth of dinner for a family, but you're doing it every week, week after week. Or I've even had singles get a service that it lasts them a whole month, and they get them in individual containers and freeze them up. But the point is they're regularly scheduled. Now, my number 1 favorite thing about that is that it's regular, hence it's built right into the name, right? Regular services, because that keeps my schedule and my income more consistent, which is important to me, and maybe that's important to you too. My second favorite thing about them is that those type of cooking services are during the day, during the week. That's really important to me, and if you're like most personal chefs, it's important to you too, because I get my work done while my husband's at work and my kids are at school, because that way I can still take care of everything else I have to take care of. I don't have to worry about after school care. I don't have to be away from my family nights and weekends when we're together. So that is why those regular personal chef services are my favorite. If there's any con about them, you know, it just depends on the lifestyle you want to lead. Some people might think that it's boring, that the consistency is just not very exciting because, you know, big events and stuff like that have some cachet if you're into that. So, of course, the second service that all personal chefs, if they don't currently offer, they started out offering it, is catering. And that is actually how a lot of people get into being a personal chef, because people ask if you can do something for their party because they know you love to cook, or, you know, you start putting together menu plans and stuff for dinner parties for 8 or romantic dinner parties for 2 or for bridal showers or teas or whatever or maybe you're really into barbecue and so your thing is making barbecue catering. That is really a stepping stone a lot of people start out with when they get into personal chefing and doing their own cooking thing. So the great thing about catering is that it's kind of different all the time. You can do a ton of different kind of events. Like I said, you can do, beautiful high tea bridal showers, or you can do family home cooking barbecue events, or you can do whatever you want. And that can be a lot of fun. And it can also be really lucrative if you do it right. Now, I'm not going to lie, it can be hard when you're starting out coming up with these menus and these party plans to make sure that they're profitable for you, especially in the beginning. If you're not taking into account how much work it actually is, then the next thing you know, by the time you're done, you've worked maybe 2 weeks on this event, killing yourself, and you only came out with a few $100s to show for it. And at the end of the day, that might not be worth your time. On the other hand, that might be exactly just what you want, a couple caterings a month. So those are a couple reasons that catering is great. Now, a couple cons. Again, catering is a special event. People don't get catering every day. So your events and stuff and your relationship with your client is a lot more sporadic. The holidays will be a really busy time where you'll get a lot of requests for proposals and stuff. And then people might do catering for graduation, which is also kind of jammed in usually to the same time period, maybe birthdays or anniversaries or a romantic dinner. But that's not something that people do all the time. So that can be a little more sporadic. And then the other thing that I am not a huge fan of is that most of the time, 9 times out of 10, catering events are nights, weekends, and holidays. And that is exactly when I don't want to work, again, because of my family. If you're anything like me, you got family, and that's a higher priority. So that's why, again, I like regular services. Finally, the top 3 service that all personal chefs have probably done or used to do is teaching cooking classes. Now this, again, there are a million different ways that you can offer cooking classes, and it's a blast. You can do cooking classes where you're standing up in front of the class and just demonstrating how to cook stuff. You can do hands-on cooking classes where you're in the kitchen with people, working them through creating the food that then they eat at the end of the class. You can do team building and corporate events where people break up into teams and they all have tasks and they cook and it's competitive. I've done those. Those can be a lot of fun. And of course, there are online cooking classes now. You could either create online classes that are recorded and market them that way, or you could even Skype cooking classes live to people one-on-one. So it can really be anything you want it to be. So kind of like catering, cooking classes can be different and fun and really exciting. And on the downside, they might be nights and weekends, but you can also very frequently have cooking classes that maybe it's a ladies' luncheon group who wants it during the day, or like that type of thing, and those will be during the day, and they're a lot of fun too. Again, the only thing you would need to consider, again, a con kind of like catering, is that people don't take cooking classes probably weekly forever or for years and years and years. So it's more of a sporadic type thing, which doesn't mean it's bad. It's just something to take into consideration while you're thinking about what you want to do. Because my number one piece of advice, as we're talking about the bajillion different things that you can do as a personal chef, is you cannot do them all. I know they're all exciting, and I know you actually can do them all, and you might want to do them all. But if you're marketing 15 different services that you do, like trying to tell people or listing them all on your website or anything like that, it's too much for people. I mean, first of all, they're probably looking for what they're looking for, and so that's the only thing they care about. They don't care that you also do 15 other things. And it can just get really overwhelming and then they just move on. And it's hard for you to market well all these different services. If you just focus on 2 or 3 to really dial in your messaging, really get your menus put together, really get good at them, that will serve you much, much better. Your clients will be happier, you will make more money. Trust me. Just focus on 2 or 3 when you're starting out. Okay, that being said, let's talk about a whole bunch of other services that you could choose from. One that's really popular, especially with so many people doing special diets, is meal planning. There are people out there who either want to cook themselves or might not be able to afford a personal chef all the time, or even maybe they have such severe allergies that they don't want someone else in their kitchen cooking, but yet they need to eat a certain way. And meal planning for them can be the perfect thing to, get them going on their journey to eating healthier and doing what they need to do without having a full personal chef cooking for them. So you can offer meal planning services either for, just regular family style food or specifically for special diets, and that can be a really great service to offer. Then how about holiday meal prep? People go crazy at the holidays, and it doesn't matter what religion you are or if you're not religious. Guaranteed something about the holiday season for you focuses on some kind of food. And when people are entertaining a lot or having a lot of people over or whatever, they would love to have the meal prep done for them and still get to have, this fantastic high quality food. So offering meal prep packages to people, holiday meal prep for the holidays, can be a great thing. And that's also one thing that you can focus on going into the holidays and stretch that out for that time period, which can be really useful to people. You can offer special diet packages instead of ongoing personal chef services. Like maybe somebody wants to do a Whole30, or they want to do a special detox or something. That might be something they only need a personal chef for temporarily, but if you really get good at that and market to that, that can be a huge service that you can offer to people. New kitchen setup. Would you believe people moving into a new home, especially if they're getting all set up with new appliances and everything, it can be a pain. If you market to people that you will meet with them, talk about what they need, get all their pantry shopping done, if they need kitchen equipment, get all their equipment purchased and set up. You can train them on how to use their appliances. I can't tell you the number of people, especially that have just moved into super high-end houses that they're not used to, the super high-end appliances. They need training. And a lot of times the appliance manufacturers don't offer that or anything. So when you have the skills to know all about those things, it can be worth its weight in gold to a person to have someone come into their new home and just get it done and walk them through it so they don't have to deal with it, especially if they're really not into cooking and they just need it to be done. So that's a great service. And then grocery shopping services. It's gotten to the point these days where every grocery store, even Walmart, is offering shopping services. But there's a difference between knowing the person who's doing your shopping every single time and gambling on the grocery store and whoever is picking out your tomatoes. So grocery shopping services, especially maybe it's a regular client that you're doing cooking services for, and then maybe later in the week you just do a grocery service for them. That can be a huge thing too. A food blog. Now let's take it complete opposite direction. Instead of things that you're doing for people, you can also start a food blog. You already love to cook and you're cooking all the time. So if it's interesting to you and you're passionate about it and you want to explore getting into food photography, which takes, equipment and time and patience to learn to get really good at it. And then the writing up of the story behind the recipe and publishing the recipe, you can either use that as a tool on your website just for marketing in general to show yourself as an expert to potential clients, or if you start driving enough traffic to your website, you can monetize it with ads or even getting sponsored posts. So if the thought of doing something more online and less hands-on is really appealing to you, that might be something that you want to consider adding to your service offering. Freezer parties, do you remember stuff like that? And the meal assembly parties? There used to be a ton of them, like super suppers, and I think they're all gone. But people still do parties themselves, and that can be a really fun thing that you can market to, again, moms groups or different, groups, and it can be a fun afternoon thing for them, and you organize it all. No one has to do anything, and it's a lot of fun for them, and it can be a great service for you to market. And then finally, a lot of states now, I don't know where you are, and of course it'll depend, but here in Texas, they passed a law called the cottage law. And if you're working with food that's not high threat, I don't think anyone's ever gotten food poisoning from eating a muffin, you can sell it out of your house. So maybe you want to do some custom baking. If you love to bake cookies or cakes or anything like that that's really your specialty, that's another service that you can offer that can be fantastic. And like I said, all the states have different laws. Your state might even allow you to sell at farmers markets or do other things like that, even though you don't have a commercial kitchen. So if selling your own food product is something that appeals to you, then that's something that you might definitely want to look into. So, okay, we just talked about a bajillion different things that you can do as a personal chef. So again, the top 3 were regularly scheduled personal chef services. Woo woo! My favorite because of the consistent schedule and consistent income and no nights and weekends. Catering, which can be fabulous because it gives you a little bump in income and the events are always new, fun, and different. And cooking classes, which can be a whole different variety of styles depending on what you like to do the best. Then there's a multitude of other things that you can do, and I'll list the ones that I just went over here too. And if you're interested in these and you're curious about being a personal chef and you kind of want to check it out, I have a free guide that you can get. It's at chefintheburbs.com/free guide, and it walks you through kind of what doing a regularly scheduled weekly services for a client. The menu planning, the shopping, and batch cooking all the recipes at one time. So check that out if it's something that you're interested in, and share it with your friends too. I'll put the link underneath too, because I know I'm talking really fast because I get really excited and I'm guzzling my Moroccan mint tea, so it can be a little bit hard to follow. But if you have any questions, I will come back in, of course, and check this post and get back to any questions you have, or you can always message me through my page, Chef Shelly. I've had a great time talking to you, and I hope you had a fun time with me, and I will see you here next Thursday. Cheers! Clink!